right, guys, we are here with some awesome video content for you. What are we going to be talking about today, Jonathan?
Reading nutrition labels.
Yes. So I'm Ashley. If you guys didn't know, this is my boyfriend, Jonathan. Yeah, so we are just going to briefly, we already did this video once and it was like 15 minutes. So we're going to briefly
we're going to give you the cliff
go
notes.
over this, the cliff notes, yes. So reading nutrition labels and kind of just talking about macros. I know a lot of you guys probably already know that we count our macros, also known as flexible dieting, IFYM, balanced intake, that sort of thing. So what exactly are macros? Most people are like, what the heck is a macro? So there are three main macronutrients, with the fourth possibly being alcohol, but we're going to talk about another time. We'll talk about a little bit, but another time would probably be better.
We're giving the bare bone basics.
Yes, bare bone basics, because this is going to be a 5-minute video. So we got proteins, carbs, and fats. In terms of caloric content for each of those, if you guys ever look at a nutrition label, you'll see this on there. So there are 4 calories per 1 gram of protein. The same thing with carbs, 4 calories per 1 gram, and then you got 9 calories per 1 gram of fats. So that's how that breaks down. And then in terms of what each macro does for you in your body, in terms of protein, do you want to take over here?
Proteins are awesome. Proteins are great for, obviously muscle building, which everybody knows, but proteins are necessary for brain functions. Amino acids are necessary for brain functions, so proteins are necessary for brain functions. But things like that, protein, again, building blocks for muscle, brain functions, carbohydrates. You need carbohydrates. It's an energy source. It's got glucose in it, which everybody knows carbs. Is basically, so sugar is glucose chains, but it's got glucose in it. Every living life form anywhere runs off of glucose. So glucose is literally the energy of life. If you've ever been on a low
carb diet, you just get that brain fog.
Your brain can't use fat for energy. It has to use carbohydrates. So granted, if you're not taking carbohydrates, it's going to have to figure out a different way, which could be burning off muscle tissue, could be a few other processes in your body. But you need carbs because your brain literally cannot metabolize fats for energy. It just doesn't have the ability to do that. So you need carbohydrates if you want to be smart, really.
And a coherent human being.
be a nice human being. And fats are necessary for hormone production. It's like protein is to muscles, fats are to hormones. It uses fats to make hormones.
So those are your macros. When you look at a nutrition label, you'll see that. You also probably hear people talk about that a lot. You hear people talking about low carb diet or low fat diet or high protein diet. It's all macros, like it's talking about those 3 things. And then another thing to talk about, also when you look at a nutrition label, obviously you're going to see sodium, you're going to see sugars, cholesterol. We're not going to get into that. We're just literally bare bones basics. So macros, and then you got calories. So he's going to talk about calories more because he says it a lot more eloquently than I do. So go for it.
Calories, one calorie is a measurement of energy, basically. So, or a calorie is just saying the word calories like joules or anything else. It's a measurement of energy. And heat energy specifically, but it's the amount of energy it takes to raise 1 gram of water 1 degree Celsius. So within your body, obviously raising a gram of water 1 degree Celsius, it takes energy. That's where that energy comes from, is food. And when you look at food, there's what's called a nutritional calorie. A nutritional calorie is actually a kcal, or 1,000 calories. So when you see your nutrition label says 100 calories, it's actually 100,000 calories, or you would need to raise 100,000 grams of water 1 degree Celsius in order to match that imbalance, which obviously comes from exercise and things like that, and regular body functions depending on your body. But anyway, so that's what a calorie is. Calories are important. Calories are energy. So if you're dragging and stuff, I mean, you could just as easily, before you go for an energy drink, find a way to get some proper calories in you, because calories are energy.
So those are kind of the bare bone basics. When you look at a nutrition label, that's what you're going to see on there. Again, sodium, all that sort of stuff, we'll talk about another time. So I have a kombucha right here, and I'm looking at this nutrition label, and I see it's 35 calories. It's 0 grams of fat, 7 grams of carbs, and 0 proteins. So if you do the math that I talked about before, 7 times 4 is 28. So that would be 28 calories for this thing. It says 35 for some reason. I'm not really sure, but it's close enough to that 28. They sometimes round up or round down.
About nutrition labels.
Yeah,
They're not
there you
even
go.
right amongst themselves.
So you think, oh, great, only 7 calories. But that's for one serving. There's 2 servings in this bottle, and every nutrition label will tell you, hopefully every nutrition label will tell you how many servings are in there. So another example of this, Lenny's and Larry's cookies, protein cookies. That's a big thing people have had problems with. They look at a cookie that's like this big. They're like, oh my gosh, this is 180 calories. Awesome. But really you're eating 2 servings of that. And those 100 to 200 calories that you're not taking account for every day can add up over time to weight gain or just not allowing you to lose the weight that you want to lose. So, looking at stuff like that, serving sizes can be really misleading. And also, like, people get away with nutrition, or companies get away with nutrition label stuff a lot by saying certain things on the front, like, what's a good example of that?
Like Muscle Milk can say that it has, 32 grams of protein per 2 scoops in small print. I mean, crazy things like that. You can have something like a cookie that says 16 grams of protein per cookie, but can also say only 100 calories per serving,
Exactly.
which is a totally different
And
thing.
yeah, like with the Muscle Milk thing, like, great, 1 scoop might be 150 calories, but it will say 150 calories per serving and then say, whatever, 150 grams of protein, but that's totally different because that 50 grams of protein is from 2 servings versus the calorie content is from 1 serving. So just little things like that to look out for. And yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of it in terms of the bare bone basics of looking at a nutrition label.
Be aware of what you're eating down to its most basic level, and just know how much of it you're eating. That's as easy as it gets.
Basically. And I know some of this is probably like for you guys right now, and you're like, okay, but how do I
Strap
put this
your
into
helmet on.
practice? We'll get another video up for you guys on that. We talked about macros. We'll get more into that. How do you count your macros? How do you calculate your macros? Different resources for that. So
Tips and tricks to stay within your macros.
Exactly.
And stay full and stay satisfied. Substitutions.
yeah, so we'll be talking all about that in hopefully the next couple of weeks. Hopefully this will be kind of like just a video series that we'll continue and try to post as much as we can. So stay tuned for that. With that, we're at about 7.5 minutes, so we cut down our time in half. This is awesome. But yeah, we're done. And if you guys have any questions, please comment below or find us on social media. We'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.